Forget the hot. It's disgusting.
I can't. I need everybody to stand to your feet as you welcome our first guest to the stage, our senior pastors, Pastor Jay and Tessy Miller. The milk is not spoiled. I know we are on a youth budget. We put it in the freezer. 4 of these sauces are actually from the show, and they get progressively hotter as we go, which the questions also get hotter as we go. So we have an incentive for you guys. If at any point you want to opt out, you can press this red buzzer. If they do, if they hit the red buzzer, it cancels out a prize for them. So at the end of this service, as of now, I'm going to act like that didn't happen, I'm giving away $100 cash to somebody in the room. Bite number 1, Melinda's Thai curry chili sauce. $2,200, really not that bad. It's got a spice to it, but it's really not like. We're talking about relationships tonight.
Aww.
So we went back to the OG where it all started.
Right
Come on,
here.
isn't this the cutest
here,
picture?
Y'all.
That picture was actually taken in this room.
Right here.
In 1994, July 15th, 1994. This was the auditorium. This was the main auditorium. And it looks a little different today than it did then, but that was right here on a Friday night.
And who's marrying you? Who did the ceremony?
That's my dad.
That's your dad. That's Papaw.
That's Papaw.
Do you know what we're doing and where we're at when we take this picture? We watched Michael Jordan play.
He played against the New Orleans.
He played for the Wizards, and he played against the Pelicans, or whoever New Orleans was at the time.
Oh, wait. We missed a Wednesday night church service, and back in the day, you went to hell for that.
Yeah.
So he skipped church to bring me and Sterling to watch Michael Jordan play in person.
We were not pastors.
It's Michael Jordan's last season
ever in the NBA, and so every time, from what I understand, every game he went to was completely sold out. Like everybody was going to see it.
Yeah.
Next one, we're switching up a little bit, and this one's for you, Mom.
Okay.
You just explain, please.
Where did you get that? You okay? How did we get that?
Anyway, so cool. Next sauce. This one's actually not too bad. Taste it, try it out. The first question that we have is, what's one thing about your relationship? We're talking about relationships tonight. This was actually questions from you guys. What's something about your relationship or about relationships in general that you wish you knew earlier, somebody told you earlier?
One of the things that I didn't know getting into a relationship and into marriage was how much work it was going to be. When you're first dating, we were high school sweethearts. When you're first dating, everything's easy. And then you get married and it kind of gets hard through different seasons. Each season, there's different priorities and there's different things to consider that you don't consider sometimes.
Yeah.
Learning to have fun in the day-to-day. Learning to have fun in the normal. You guys are going to have some things a little more difficult probably for you than people, let's say from our generation. Y'all always, everything this generation does has got to top the last event.
Yeah.
And in marriage, it's not an event, it's a journey. It's what you're living, it's what you're doing. And if you have to always have it bigger and better, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to have to learn to enjoy the day-to-day. Have fun in the normal stuff.
That's cool. Next wing, we're going to see what the next sauce is. This one's from the show as well. It's Mark's, kind of a Caribbean-looking sauce. It jumped up a little bit. Next question that we have is how in the relationships or the friendships or whatever, how do I put distance between me and a bad relationship without maybe completely cutting somebody out of my life? Does that make sense?
It's a bad relationship.
Yeah, like how do I put a distance between, like basically you need to get the bad friends.
So why are we not cutting it off? I mean, if it's a bad relationship,
sheesh,
you cut it off. I mean, you're not going to.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep something that's bad in your life, regardless of, do it with tact, do it with grace and humility or whatever, but do it. I mean, if it is a bad, the question is if it's a bad relationship. You do not hang on to a bad relationship if it's toxic and it's something that is not healthy and not going to grow you into a better person, then you get it out of your life, no matter what. If it's a bad relationship for you, it's a bad relationship for them. And so by removing yourself from the relationship is a healthy move for them as well. So you're considering them in the situation. You can do it without intentionally trying to hurt them or be vindictive, but
cut them out.
cut them out.
Anything? You're good.
No, just you hot?
Oh
My
man,
lips are
this
burning.
one.
It's like this milk. We would all, if you drink milk, this milk is fine. I would drink it, but if you had a couple of drops of Lysol or some other chemical or something else and you dropped it in there, we wouldn't drink it. But it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that little bit ruins the whole
Pollutes
thing.
the whole thing for sure.
And the same thing with bad relationships.
Wow.
It could just be just one little relationship and compared to all of them, but that one little relationship could ruin the whole thing.
That's really good. That's really good. Next question, next wing, next sauce. We're going to keep it moving. Is the next one. This one, I don't know if this was allowed in church. I felt like we were kind of breaking through. It's called Devil's Blend.
Yeah, that's not allowed. Skip that one.
Okay. Yeah. In today's culture, there's pretty much, not everything, but a lot of things are just based off of chemistry, and we get away from commitment.
Okay.
You guys have been married for 27 years, so y'all have understood what commitment really looks like. And nowadays, if the chemistry's there, we're good, and as soon as we feel like the chemistry's not there and it's not feeling right, we bail. How are y'all able, or what have y'all done, or what did y'all do in able to keep that commitment, even in maybe seasons or times where it felt like you were losing a piece of chemistry, if that makes sense?
Piece of chemistry.
Or some, like, I don't know, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
Piece of okay. Wait, so we stay committed, or
yeah, how are y'all able to stay committed throughout?
you just stay committed? I mean, you make the decision. Commitment is not a commitment is something that is based on a decision, not a feeling. So if you decide something, that's it. You make the decision, and that's the final decision. But let's just be real. Y'all are teenagers. Y'all are young adults. There's no chemistry. Why are we fighting to stay committed? I'm sorry. If you have made a vow, you stay committed, you keep your decision. But if you have not made a vow yet, I mean,
yeah, no, for sure.
why are we fighting to stay with somebody who's not, you're not attracted to?
Yeah, for sure.
I married him because I was very attracted to him, not because I had to decide to marry him.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, you're ugly, but you're God's will. I'll date you. No. Married, it's a commitment. If it was based on feeling, there are times where I didn't feel like,
married.
I didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it. I say it all the time. Look, there are times I don't like her, but I always will love her.
What is something that you feel like should be a deal breaker, or even maybe like a deal maker, like something they have to have, and if they don't have it, that's a deal breaker? Like, what are some deal breakers that you feel like we should be on the lookout for in dating relationships?
When you're dating someone? Shared values, okay? And what I mean by that is what I will value, you may not value. I value certain things. Now, at the top of all of our list as Christians who love the Lord, one of our greatest values should be a relationship with the Lord. I value a relationship with God, so I should never enter into a relationship with someone who doesn't value that as well. And you can still be different, but you can...
But the main ones,
yeah,
the values. That's good. That's good. All right, next wing, second to last one. The buzzer's on the table. This one jumped out. Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right, 98,000. It is called the Ghost Pepper Wing Sauce.
That's hot.
it's like hitting the back.
Here's a cool question that got sent in, and it says, whenever you're in a romantic relationship, should you walk spiritually together, or should you have your own personal, individual spiritual journey and spiritual walk?
I think it's important to have your own personal relationship with Christ, especially in dating. And I think, I guess as it gets more serious and as you get older, as you get closer, your relationship with Christ becomes more evident in each other's lives. You can be able to share those things a little bit better, and makes it a little bit more real.
So yes, almost to both. Mm-hmm. Yes to individual, but you'd also say yes to together.
We have to have our own separate journey, but yeah, to bring it together and do it together. Now, remember, when you're sharing your heart with someone and you're dating, you're not in a marriage, You're sharing something very intimate.
That is good.
You're sharing there's nothing more intimate than your relationship with God.
Is your relationship with God one of the most intimate places in your life? Is that conversation that you're having with God one of the deepest things that you have for your life right now? And if it's not, how do we fix that? Or why don't you fix it? Or it's time to fix that.
If you're dating and you break up, they don't forget everything you've shared with them.
Yep. Every moment.
So all that you've shared with them, they still remember, but you're no longer together. Just guard that kind of stuff.
So the next one that we're eating is this one. Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay. Forget the hot. It's disgusting.
I can't.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's so hot. This was a speed round. I'm asking y'all some questions. How did you guys determine marriage material?
If I could not like them or love them like I did him, it was kind of useless. So, there you go.
Here's a question. Should I date if I'm in high school?
Just looking back now, I don't think deep, committed relationship, steady, whatever the word is now, relationships through high school, in general, it's probably not the most healthy. I think what happens is it starts taking time away from you. You don't really get to develop relationships with others that I think you could. I'm a big fan of going out in groups. If you're not careful, one-on-one situations could lead to some choices that you will regret the rest of your life.
That's true.
It's not worth the risk, if you will.
Yeah.
Unless of course, look, unless you're just in a different season and your parents may think otherwise, and so I'm not gonna go against your parents' decisions, but
I could argue it both ways. I really could. So I do think it's a personal decision within a family, not yours, but within a family. I think dating at a young age puts you in situations that you're making decisions relationally that you don't have enough life experience yet that you're forced to make. At the same time, you learn a lot through it. You learn a lot there's some growing to be had in it. I truly could argue it either way.
I got one text to me while we were talking, and it said, we were talking about how do I cut off friends or relationships that are toxic, and they said, well, what about, is that the same answer if you're talking about friends, not necessarily dating relationships? If I have a toxic friendship in my life, same.
Absolutely.
Same concept.
yeah. When you just let any relationship into your life, then you allow the enemy to have access into your life. The Bible says it's like a city without walls. And we don't put some safeguards in our life, then it can be very toxic, because spirits are transferable. Yeah. So if you're hanging around somebody that's bitter all the time, you will one day become bitter. If you hang around jealous people all the time, if you hang around someone that cusses all the time, has a very dirty mind, dirty attitude, and just all that, what happens is those spirits are transferable. Next thing you know, you're participating in that same type of stuff. That's why it's important. The Bible says, blessed is the man that puts safeguards over your relationship.
That's good. That's so good. Were there things about your partner that you didn't know while you were dating that you didn't find out until you were married? Absolutely.
Yes.
Like there's negative, positive. There was just things about that person that you didn't know.
Unless you're living together, there's things you'll
them.
never know about each other until you are in the same space all the time.
And then what do you say towards the question of, okay, well then that's why I want to live together before I'm dating?
Go for it. It's not God's plan.
Yeah.
You want to be blessed, you do it God's way.
That's.
But if you don't, and you think that that's more important, then you're trusting your own decision over God's decisions.
Wow.
Meaning you're trusting your opinion about, let me figure out if I want to live with him, over, well, God's plan says you do it this way. And if you do it God's way, one, you're blessed. Two, you're trusting him.
If we're not supposed to date in high school, or if we can't or shouldn't date in high school, when are we supposed to date?
I didn't say you can't and shouldn't.
No, but
He said his opinion is.
Yeah, correct.
We've seen it done many ways, and
what's a good indicator that maybe I'm ready? What's some things that I can look at for myself?
For me, for my children, one of the things I did not want is I didn't want my children dating a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I didn't want little pieces of their heart with a bunch of different people. I didn't want that. So that casual dating was never really okay with me for my own children. Unless this was somebody who you can sincerely see yourself spending the rest of your life with, I never wanted y'all getting into that committed relationship with them.
You didn't give an age, but you gave that question every time. Not that I always followed it perfectly, but the laugh wasn't necessary. We didn't even.
Oh, I was laughing about the fact that my nose is on fire.
Yeah, I bet.
The Bible says that God brought Eve to Adam. When the time is right, God's going to bring you the right person, the one that you're going to have chemistry with, the one that you're going to have commitment with, and so you just got to trust God in that stuff.
We're over time, but these questions are good. Can I still be blessed if I'm living together while engaged, since we've committed to each other anyway?
Listen, we serve a big, good, merciful God. He loves us with an everlasting love. Life is very hard all on its own, even when you do it right, if you will. Life is hard. And then you topple that, you multiply that by doing things outside of God's plan and purpose. And man, it can be overbearing at times. And there's an abundant life that you can choose if you just trust God and do life God's way. Listen, young people, do relationships God's way. The Bible says that I knew you before you were in your mother's womb. I knew your name. And I knew your purpose, and I knew your design. And so we got to understand that God has something special for every single one of us. And what you don't want to do is ruin that or jeopardize that by having these little flaky relationships, these little one night stand kind of relationship, and not just dating relationships, just in co-ed friendships. Man, be careful who you spend your time with. Yeah. Be careful who you follow on Instagram. Yeah. Be careful who influences you on Snapchat and all the other social platforms that you may look through. Man, be very careful about it, because what you don't want is them to influence you and derail you. When you're young, you don't recognize and you don't sense this is no big deal. It's just one relationship. It's just one follow on Instagram. Mm-hmm. It's just one conversation. Yep. It's just one kiss. It's just one drink. It's just one this. But over time, you get so far away from what God intended for your life. And it's sometimes you never get that opportunity to get back on track. Now, thank God that He forgives us and He loves us and He gives us second and third chances. But
why waste the time that you do have?
You waste half your life trying to get back to square one when God had so much more.
But based on that question, it's saying engaged.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to break up an engagement, you just give the ring back. That's not a commitment. So whoever... You're saying you're committed, I'm engaged. That's not committed. Committed is when you got to pay a whole lot of money with lawyers and stand before a judge and say, I want a divorce. That's a different commitment. Wow. So an engagement is not the commitment you're trying to claim it to be, so it's okay for us to live together. Once again, still not God's plan. Yeah. But do it if that's what you want. But God says, I put before you blessings, cursings. You choose. It's up to you. Yeah. Choose which route you want to go. But breaking off an engagement is a whole lot easier than getting a divorce.
Wow, that's good. Pastor Jay said this last week in his message, and he said, choose your heart.
Choose your heart.
Being married is hard. Getting a divorce is hard. Choose what hard you want to fight for. And I think that's so true. Breaking off a toxic friendship is hard. Staying committed in a toxic friendship is hard.
And living out the consequences of a toxic relationship is hard.
Having a conversation with that person is hard, but not having that conversation and having to deal with the repercussions of this friendship or relationship is also hard. Yeah. Hey, we love you. You guys are dismissed. Thank you. Y'all give it up. Oh, Lord. Mass chaos.